Welcome to Horror Movie Survival Guide, Disco Citizens, the podcast where gorehounds
and best friends Teri Gamble
and Julia Marchesi break down a different horror movie each week,
exploring a multitude of genres, subgenres,
and subgenres,
classic and cult,
international
and underground flicks alike, determining which films are the goriest,
and offering up Horror Movie Survival Guide tips to help you
stay alive. Oh my God, Disco Citizens, I'm so excited. This is a big one for me because I got to star in this film. I'm very, very excited that we get to chat with the director today, Julia. Oh my gosh.
Yes, welcome to Horror Movie Survival Guide, all you Disco Citizens out there. And we have a fantastic interview today. Teri, tell us all about it.
Okay, we have director Ben WARHIT. He has produced and developed premium documentaries for over 12 years. In 2019, Ben was hired by Tremolo Productions and spent 4 years working across their slate of content. He was has created he was credited as production manager, line producer, and producer of 10 films, including Roadrunner, a film about Anthony Bourdain. Oh my God, one of the rest in peace, amazing humans on the planet. Mickey, the story of the mouse, you might know about him. The Saint of Second Chances, and Steve, about Steve Martin, a documentary in 2 pieces. Ben was the line producer on the Andy Kaufman feature documentary entitled Thank You Very Much, which won Best Documentary at the 2023 Venice International Film Festival. Just a small festival. Just kidding, a huge festival. He also produced a feature documentary alongside director Jason Zeldas about Andre Heller and the Luna Art Amusement Park. Most recently, he was the line producer on Ironheart, a 4-part documentary series produced by Imagine Entertainment and Amazon Studios. He is currently executive producing a feature documentary for Peacock, a station I might know a little bit about because I was on a show called Mrs. Davis on there. Check it out if you don't already have Peacock kids. And in 2024, Ben made his scripted directorial debut with his horror comedy short film, Jack Attack, which he wrote, directed, and edited. It won Best Horror Comedy at the Studio City International Film Festival and was awarded Best Horror Short by Top Shorts. It is being distributed by Eli Roth's Crypt TV. And you know what's even more exciting? I'm in it, and he's here to talk with us about it. And it's about to be on Crypt TV like tomorrow. So check it out. Ben WARHIT, welcome to Horror Movie Survival Guide. Yay.
Thank you guys for having me. What a pleasure to be here.
Oh
If you
my God.
if you had told me I'd make this short film and then end up on your podcast, I would have been like, sign me up. Let's go.
Well, hell yes, of course. And just like it's so delightful and so fun and with such a labor of love. So can you tell us, I guess, the genesis of this short and how this crazy idea came to you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been producing projects for other filmmakers for a long time, and which is an incredibly fulfilling thing. But when you're producing, sometimes your creative input only goes so far. And so I had this itch of, okay, let's direct something, and I also wanted to step outside my comfort zone. I mean, I always scripted movies are my first love, and so when I decided I was going to direct something, I said, okay, let's step back into the scripted world out of the documentary zone, but apply a lot of what I've learned in documentaries into how we're going to film it. And so the idea came from, I'm a very mediocre surfer, and I like to surf with my friend Jack, who is the star of the movie Jack Attack, who's not an actor, complete non-actor, and we would be surfing and then go back to his apartment, which was where we filmed in the movie, which for all for all purposes is really a surf shack. And so we would go there and we would be watching Jaws, and we would be watching Blue Crush and Point Break. And I said to him, I was looking around his apartment, I said, we got to film something here. I mean, it was so authentic. He had his board up top, just even the texture and the wood inside of the apartment. There was sand on the ground inside the apartment. And then he had this very peculiar alleyway with a shower. And it really, I could see how it could lend itself as a location. And me as a producer, I'm going, free location. We have full access to this place. How can we build a story around this? And then in Newport Beach, which is where he lived and where the story takes place, it's a very insular surf community where people kind of only talk about surfing. You'll go to a coffee shop and you'll order your coffee, and then people ask, Have you been out in the water yet? Are you are you going to the water? Have you been in the water? How are the waves? And I found it to be very funny that it was this bubble, to a certain degree. And I thought, okay, what if there was a murder? Would anyone even notice in this surf town? And that was the kernel of the idea of what if we made some kind of murder mystery. Was not setting out to make a horror film, but there's something I find inherently funny about the cross section between violence and comedy. Some of my favorite movies do that incredibly well, whether
Same.
it's Fargo or
Mhm.
American Psycho. um, and so I thought, okay, I definitely want there to be violence. How can we lean into the comedy of this surf town, whether it's in the way people talk, the way people are obsessed with surfing, like that? Let's lean into that. Let's make it caricaturish. Let's have some fun. Um, and let's make something that's genre blending and weird and you know very out there. So much fun to make. Didn't make it easy on myself. We filmed in open water. We had a lot of violence in this film. We had a dog as our co-star. I mean, all the things I set up for myself to make this short were not easy, but in a way I'm really glad we did it that way. and
Tell
of
us about
course
working,
and of course
w
Terry was
well, of
fabulous
course,
in it.
tell her. Yes, I was going to ask, like, tell us how Terry got involved.
Well, the cinematographer I was working with, Antonio Cisneros, is a good friend of mine. We've worked on a lot of documentaries together. And when he was on board, I was still sort of in the casting process. I was still writing the script, and I knew I had a lead detective role. And I asked Antonio, and Rachel Zarzinski, who's also a mutual friend of ours, was at the time our scripty, but very quickly became a producer on the film and our AD, and became sort of someone I leaned incredibly heavily on to make sure we got it done. And I said, "Who do you guys know any actors that might be interested in playing this role?" And it was pretty quick. Rachel was like, I have a kickball tournament tonight, and Terry is on our team, and I'm pretty sure Terry would be down. I mean, it
And we
happened pretty early,
won.
and they won. So it
Yeah.
was it was pretty. That's indicative of the kind of like grassroots, small, um, grassroots type of film we were making. Like I leaned on my friends to make this. I leaned on a lot of the colleagues that were immediately in my orbit. Antonio was someone I had shot a bunch of films with. Okay, you're going to be my DP. Rachel was a friend, AD, producer.
Your Crafty who made sandwiches was your fiance at the time.
That's true.
Now your
That,
wife,
that
incredible
is true.
sandwiches.
That is true. I mean, it had like a small town, small community feel the way we made it. And so that's how Terry got on board. I mean, I sent Terry the script. I really wasn't sure if you were going to be down for it, and lo and behold, you said yes. So I'm just pretty
Well,
stoked.
yeah. Well, also like Antonio and all of them, I knew him as well too. And like they're just, and Rachel are just they're incredible people. And sometimes, when you have good people that ask you something, Julia, like when you call me about something, I'm like, yeah, just tell me what it is. I'm probably gonna be there. Like it's 95% already there because of who those people are. And I think that's a lot of our community that we built as well too within the horror community and stuff too. It's similar vibes where that's how stuff gets made. It's like you phone a friend and you had that great location. You really didn't have to set dress that place at all. Like,
No,
that was incredible. So,
yeah, that was a huge
And
advantage.
how was working with Millie the dog? This is what
Millie,
gotta ask.
Millie is an angel. Millie is my dog, and I thought that she would do very well because she's very obedient and is very food driven. So when we needed her in close up, she's got very expressive eyes just naturally. And so in order to get those great close ups, just hold a little treat next, just off camera, camera left or camera right, and you'll be surprised. But she did a great job. We're very
watching
proud of
Millie
her.
I
get
feel
the
like that would
shot,
work.
that was actually the highlight.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I have probably more pictures of her than anyone else from set, and, like, because she was, like I made friends with her, and she's incredible, but her little face and just, like, so many little moments, like, trying to get her a little closer. I just remember being, okay, we're all, like, holding our breath, like, cheering her on, like, it was like the whole set was, like, on Millie's side to whatever she needed. Like, if she was overwhelmed, we're like, "Okay, less people in the room, like, move away." Like, we're, like, trying to give her, like, a little bit of space to, like, get her shots as well. So, very important for the dog. So, and the dog is incredible, people. Please watch. If you love dogs, you got to watch this movie as well because she's gives it a wonderful performance as well.
We have authorization to do this, right?
Yeah, I got your warrant right here.
Oh, good. Wouldn't want to do anything illegal.
Who's a good girl? You're a good girl.
How do you know she's a girl?
Why don't you go ahead and swab the bathroom?
When'd you get hit in the bathroom?
And how was the directing aspect of this? If it's something that you're taking on,
It
that you don't.
was very challenging at first. I've worked with a lot of directors. I hadn't directed something in over 10 years. I had done some music videos when I lived in New York, s- truly 10 years prior. And at first it was uncomfortable. You're trying to determine whether or not you should be trusting your own instincts. Are my instincts correct in where I should be putting the camera? Is this shot list indicative of the best way to capture this scene? I think my confidence grew just because of the team I had around me, and they were incredibly encouraging and honest when things were not working. I mean, we shot, for a film that's 14 and a half minutes, we had a 25-minute rough cut. There are several scenes that are not in this, and I think that's my confidence grew with the team around me encouraging me to keep going. Um, so it was incredibly challenging, but I embraced it. I loved it. I'm so proud of the film we made.
So joyous.
And
Go on. Yeah.
yeah, I would love to know the run after this. We're talking about all the film festivals and Crypt TV and everything. How did all that come together?
We did sort of a classic festival submission. I purposely didn't apply to say the Sundances of the world. Those types of festivals. It just seemed like this film was too specific and genre based to really work in that type of environment. And so I leaned into some of the more obscure festivals. Some we got into, some we didn't get into. But that's how we did it. My team and I made a large list of what we thought were possible. Um, and a lot of rejections to start. I mean, it became actually a game of, oh, we didn't get into another one, and then I was almost wondering if we were going to get into any. But when we got into Holly Short's comedy, that was the first time I thought, okay, this is going to play on a big screen. This is going to play for an audience that is into this type of material. We were in the horror comedy block at Holly Short's, and I thought, okay, this I feel vindicated that we made something very specific. Would people get it? Is the comedy hitting? Is it too violent? And I thought that was a really great first festival to really sort of display the movie. Um, and then we got into Studio City International, and actually won Best Horror Comedy there, and truly was not expecting to win any awards. I mean, when we made this film, I wasn't trying to win awards. I was just trying to make a film with my friends that was good, that we would have fun making, and anything after that was really gravy. So like to win, a little award at a film festival, it's actually like shocking because I did not go into this expecting to win anything. And then Top Shorts, nominated us for their monthly award, and then for their annual award as best horror film. Again, getting any sort of recognition is very surprising, but honestly it feels really nice to know that people enjoy it, people are getting it. I think when I was making it, I wasn't sure if people would get what this was, and a lot of people don't. I've showed it to a lot of people, and they're just like, oh, okay, I don't even know how to feel right now. But maybe that was the point. I'm sort of taking people on this ride emotionally,
Yeah.
and there's a mystery involved, and I think just let go and have fun when you're watching it and not worry too much about whether or not you should be feeling a certain way. So that's been our festival run. And then with Crypt TV, I always thought that would be a nice home for it. Um, and I recently did a small YouTube. I knew I wanted to put it on YouTube as like into the ether, into the wild. I don't need my private Vimeo link anymore. Let this just live somewhere. And then when I was doing that, just on my own as a personal promo for the film, I thought, Crypt TV could be cool for this. And I actually just cold emailed them and sent them the link and said, hey, I really think my film would play well on your site. What do you think? Expecting no response. didn't expect him to get back to me at all. Forgot I had sent the email. And then lo and behold, they emailed me back and said, actually, we really love it. And we agree that this would play really well. And it actually moved very quickly. I signed a contract like within a week.
There you
And
go,
here we
kids.
go.
See,
And here we
that's the
go.
thing. You got it like you don't have because
Just
you don't ask, right? And sometimes you just gotta like ask in a place that maybe you think, maybe. So, and then I love the trajectory of hearing like all like, the beginning of like rejections and that kind of stuff too, because that's such a hard part of trying to find your audience, trying to find the home, and just realizing that the first answer is not the only answer, right? And that's not going to be the end. And I love that you forgot about it, that you sent something out. You're like, yeah, I've literally just been trying to find places for this thing, and here we are. Um, I feel like it's a similar story when you were talking with me even about like editing, like each part of the process, there's like a little part that you kind of have to let go a little bit because you
Mm,
wrote and then directed and then you also edited. So can you tell me a little bit about like anything you learned from each one of those like kind of stops along the highway, so to speak, to get it to here, like as far as
yeah.
like killing their darlings, so to speak?
You know what? I did not go into this wanting to edit the film. That was not my intention. And I'm actually a big supporter of hiring an editor and having another creative in the room that can be honest with you. It's just another line of defense to get to the ultimate great product. Um, but being that this was, an incredibly low budget, micro budget short, um, I knew to get an editor to pay attention to the product and to be editing it on a consistent basis, you would really need to have to pay them. Perhaps I'd get lucky and find the right editor who's just down to get in the weeds with me. But I thought, you know what? Most important of everything is finishing the movie. And I didn't want it. People worked incredibly hard on this. People went out of their way on weekends, many, many days, many, many hours of planning, and I felt a big responsibility to deliver something. Um, and I didn't want to be forever in the post-production process of, oh, yeah, we're still editing it, a year and a half later.
Oh
So
yeah, I've been on those.
yeah, so with that in mind, I said, you know what, I'm gonna edit it because I'm probably not the best editor, but I'm gonna get it done. And I could make my own hours. A lot of I was working full time throughout the entire process. A lot of waking up at 4 a.m., getting my coffee, editing until 7, 8, go to work, come back, keep editing, um, all weekend long. My girlfriend at the time was sick of this movie, sick of me being in the editing room. Um, but in a way it was a blessing because I knew I was going to get it done and I could set deadlines for myself. um I think I did have some trouble letting go of some darlings. I'm sure and I've sent it to some editors for feedback since, and many have said, in the future, don't edit your own film, not because you didn't do a good job, but because there's just things that people would do differently that you're not even considering because you're blinded by the great cinematography or this line of dialogue that you're not even considering letting go of it.
Mhm.
Um, so, but you know what? For anyone making their first short, if you have the basic editing skills, I would recommend doing it. First of all, because on your next film, you'll have a better sense of the process and can sort of speak the language with the editor and, perhaps help expedite something or suggest something with an editor's mind, which probably could be helpful. So it was challenging editing it, but hey, go for it if you can.
Sweet.
now you mentioned a few surfing movies at the beginning of this chat, but we have to ask. Terry and I are obsessed with a movie called Blue Juice. Do
Oh
you
my
know
God,
of
I
it?
do not know this movie.
It is a Cornish surfing movie starring Catherine Zeta-Jones and Ewan McGregor,
Introducing
both like
Catherine
way
Zeta-Jones. It's
early.
like her first thing, and they put Ewan McGregor now on the DVD. He has a very small part, but clearly once he blew up, they like put him as like front and center, like on like the packaging for it now. But yes,
And Catherine Zeta-Jones in a bikini, so
worth the
what else
cost of
do you need?
admission.
But yeah, Cornwall
We
surfing.
did
Go
get to
ahead.
Wow.
do a red carpet for the one of the anniversaries for Blue Crush when it played at the Oceanside International Film Festival, and we did ask a lot of people about Blue Juice who came in for Blue Crush. That was one of our red carpet lines. We are so silly. Anyway,
That is
anytime a
amazing.
surfing movie comes around, I think we have to talk about it. So
Listen,
thank you,
if
Julia,
Here
for
we
making
are.
sure we got that in.
if I can say something about the surfing, I when we were planning this, I was very specific about wanting to film in the water,
Yeah.
wanting the camera near the actors in the water, um, because and we talked, first of all, there's a lot of safety concerns. We're working with actors that have never surfed before. Jack was a very good surfer, but Melissa, for example, I don't think had ever surfed before. So there was a lot of concerns about putting actors out in the water, in the ocean. I mean, we were on Newport Beach, beyond where the waves were breaking, but still, it's something you have to put a lot of thought into. We thought about just shooting from the beach, but I thought to really sell this as a surf movie and let people we're supposed to be in Jack's mind, as he's sort of devolving into psychosis, if you will. And I just thought if we're not in the water with them up close, I think people are gonna see through this as a gimmick. So I'm very glad we did that. By the way, fully MOS, no sound. We ADR'd all of that.
Oh
There was
wow.
no getting sound out in the water.
No.
So creating dialogue where we knew, okay, we'll be able to capture this line again. Let's keep it simple. Let's have everyone say it in a very expressive way or in a simple way so that we can replicate it.
That's
So
incredible. It came out
very
so
hard.
beautifully. That I don't know how you anyway, budgets, whatever, like, that was incredible. It was Renegades filmmaking at its finest. That's
It
so
was.
cool that you got that.
It was.
Um, can you tell us about the horror movie within the movie?
Yes, that was the very first thing we shot. That was the very first thing we shot. Um, I think with that, what I wanted to do when making this was kind of toy with the audience and get the audience to think they were hearing the scream, perhaps, of one of the characters, and then make them realize it was a horror film and sort of lean into the tropes of horror movies and sort of be self-aware of it at the same time. And so when I originally wrote the script, it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre was playing on the TV. But then, of course, with
Julia's favorite.
my
Yeah.
producer hat, I'm going, well, how are we going to get the rights to that? So I made it sort of an ambiguous horror film. And then I realized, well, we're going to have to shoot a fake horror movie and put it on this television. So Antonio said, okay, if we're going to shoot a fake horror movie, we should shoot it on DV tape and let's get really nitty gritty. And uh, Jack is actually playing the bunny. We have Jack in his bunny mask
Oh,
running,
okay.
and that was our first day of filming, and
I
it
think
was
Rachel
actually
sent me video, like, that was the thing that got me actually excited before I knew I was ever gonna be a part of it. She's like, "We're making this fake horror movie, it's so fun," and I was like, "That's what do you mean fake horror movie?" She's like, "It's a movie for the movie." I was like, "Okay, great," but, like,
yeah,
yes, and, like, seeing some of the stills and some of the little video from that, I was like, "This looks hilarious," and I still want the bunny movie. We all still want the movie within the movie to
we
be an
actually have
actual
a
movie,
title.
just
We
saying.
we have a
True.
title, Bad Bunny,
That's
for
what I'm saying, let's go.
for that
And
film.
coinciding with the Super Bowl this next year that he's gonna
Yeah.
be no.
Well, the way we
The search is gonna be strong.
funny enough, there were certain things I knew we need. I wanted to lean into the cliches of sort of classic horror movies with, you know, being chased down a hall, a scream. There were certain things I wanted to hit that were very specific. And we shot it as if we were sort of piecing together a trailer.
Yeah,
Um, Funny enough, we shot that in my backyard and in my house. And I was very concerned about us having Marianne Bianca, who's a lovely, lovely actor who plays the fake movie actress in that movie, um, has an incredible scream in it. a piercing scream, and I was very concerned that my neighbors were gonna become alarmed. So I actually went around my neighborhood and handed out flyers and knocked on doors and said, "Listen, we're shooting a film in my backyard. There will be a high pitched." Piercing scream between the hours of 9:30 and 10:30
Oh,
p.m. Please don't be alarmed. Here's my cell phone number if you're concerned. And I actually handed those out basically all the surrounding homes and anyone that I thought was within earshot. So that was actually very fun.
That's
That
so
was very fun
cute.
oh, you
filming that.
made friends, and then it was like little pre-publicity for your movie though too. Look at you, look at you, renegade marketing at all times.
Yeah.
Sweet Ben, this has been so delightful. I'm so glad we got to sit and chat with you about Jack Attack. Anything else that people should know about this movie before they sit down and watch it? Because I'm telling everyone to go to Crypt TV and watch it.
Nothing to know. Just, just sit back and have fun. It's a movie where I think people are encouraged to have fun and just surrender to to what they're seeing on the screen. Um, and it has so many great performances. It's shot so beautifully well by Antonio Cisneros, the whole team, and um, I think it's just a commendment to, a group of people coming together to make a piece of art for art's sake. And I hope everyone really enjoys the movie.
Yay. Thank you so much, Ben. You are a delight. I love you so much. As I was telling Julie before we hopped on, I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. Cause it's like when nice people get nice things, that's when we like want to cheer even more. And that's how I feel about you. You're one of those people who just has such a huge heart, has been, so instrumental for so many other people's projects, it sound like. And then I'm so excited that this is your baby that you got to carry all the way to Crypt TV. So now it gets to be a living dead thing, and that's incredible. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Yay.
Such a pleasure to meet you. And you can always talk to us on all of our channels on for Horror Movie Survival Guide, or check me out on the Losers Club or on Jonah Wowski, my two other
Yes.
podcasts. And Terry is in this film, so you should be watching it.
Oh my gosh,
just
wait,
for
what?
that.
Yes. Okay. Get thee to the Crypt TV people.
They're amazing in
Get thee
it.
to
So
the Crypt
much
TV
fun.
people. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.